what? It is a step after the exploratory research. From exploratory research, we get some idea, and then we describe one particular variable. We are describing the variable. So this kind of research is called as a descriptive research. And exploratory means we are explaining between the relation between the two variables, whether it is a positive related or not, whether it is a cause and effect relationship. So this kind of a research is called as an explanatory research. Then on the basis of the time, whether you are conducting the research in the same time or it is for the over a period of time, we are doing a research on one particular suppose food or some new kind of a food given to animals. So we are seeing the growth today after 4 months, after 5 months. So it is a longitudinal, or sometimes it will remain in the same area. So these are the types of research. We are restricting our discussion on this part as per the qualitative research methods and quantitative research methods. The research methods are basically classified into quantitative and qualitative. The quantitative research methods are classified further into descriptive research, correlational research, experimental research, and quasi or ex post facto research. So what are those that we'll see now? Quantitative research. Now what is quantitative research? It is based on quantitative data, that is variable is a quantitative, number of people using the helmet. So it is where we can measure it. It is, and in this research, we give the answer to the questions, what, where, when, okay? These types of questions we ask, that how many people are using this product, okay? Where do we find, where do we locate these kind of things? But we are not talking about why. Why is, when you ask the question why, it goes into the qualitative data. It is a deductive in nature, okay, and starts with the given theory developed by the qualitative research. Now this is one major difference. In case of quantitative data, it is like a deductive, means it starts with something, generalization, and then it moves on, and then it goes to a specific. This is the generalization, okay, and this generalization we get it from the qualitative data. From qualitative data, from qualitative research, we have made theories, and with the base of a theory, we move towards further and we go to the specific. यहाँ पे हम general बात नहीं करें, हम यहाँ पे we are not giving any general conclusions, general statements. We are giving specific. So that's why it is called as a deductive. That means we are deducting. In this research, hypotheses are framed. Hypotheses are what? These are the assumptions. You will be coming across this again in the coming sessions. These are what? Assumptions. Whenever we start a research, some kind of a research, we don't have any idea. So such research are qualitative research, exploratory research, and from that we develop certain theory. But when in many types of research, we have some base, we have theories, we have past research done on some similar things, and that's why we can make assumptions. Those assumptions are called as a hypothesis. The hypothesis can be framed in case of quantitative research, whereas in case of qualitative research, we cannot frame the hypothesis. Results are often presented in tables and graphs. Since we can measure it, so we can present it. They are conclusive in nature. We can conclude it. We do the surveys with the help of data collection methods, questionnaires, interviews, structured questionnaires. Now, different types of quantitative research, like in that first is what? Descriptive research. As I earlier said also, here we describe one variable. We are studying a variable. We are not studying a constant. And in case of descriptive research, we describe a variable. Let's say that we are talking about a research that what is the income level, what is the income of a family in one particular region. So in this case, there is only one variable, income, and we are just describing it. We'll say that these many families have the income up to 1 lakh. Okay, it is up to 1 lakh. so many number of families, then 1 to 3 lakh, so many numbers of families, then 3 to 5 lakh, so many number of families. So we are describing one variable. We are describing one variable. That variable can be anything. It depends on your research. We are not talking about the cause and effect relationship or any kind of correlation. There might be two independent studies. Or it might possible that in one study you have number of variables, but individually we are defining it, we are describing it, and we are not talking anything about the relation between the two variables. You are studying, suppose, the consumer profile of a for one particular region. We are studying the consumer profile for one particular region. So once we say that consumer profile, we will talk about everything. What is the age profile? What is the education profile? Means demographic profile. हम बात करें. What is the age profile? Education, then the income. Individually, we are describing the variables. We are not talking anything between the age and income, any kind of a relation. Is there any existing or not? So such research are the descriptive research. Variables are only observed and not influenced by the researcher. Now there are two things. Either we study the variable in natural environment, or sometimes we alter the variable. We make changes in the variable. When we make the changes in the variable, that becomes another type of a research that we'll see in the next slide. Data collections are conducted by the surveys, interviews, and case studies. So this is the first type of quantitative research, that is the descriptive research. The second type of a research, that is what the correlational research. Now in this case, this is also a quantitative type of a research method. Since we can quantify, we can develop a correlation. So in case of this, we have maybe it is a yes, it can be bivariate analysis or it can be a multivariate analysis. We try to develop the trends and patterns. What is the trend? Okay. Let's say that we are talking about the income and expenditure. Do the expenditure is changing as per the income level? So this is we are developing a relation. There are two types of relations, as we can see that positive relation and negative relation. So in the scale of a correlation, when your correlation coefficient is 0, we say that there is no correlation between the two variables. When our correlation coefficient is -1, we say it is a perfect negative correlation. That means when one variable is increasing, another variable is decreasing in the same manner. Whereas when there is a +1, that means perfect positive correlation. So we are just talking about a correlation. We are not talking about the cause and effect. We are not talking about if I increase the income, then how will be the expenditure. Just the relation we are talking about. Example, as you can say that the employee performance and the stress level. So yes, we can say that here the employee performance is affected by the stress level, and it is negatively related. As the stress level will increase, the employee performance will decrease. We are talking only about the cause. We are talking about only trends, not about the cause and effect. The cause and effect is studied into the next relation, that next quantitative technique, that is the experimental research. As the name itself says, experiment. So many of us have done the experiment in the laboratories. Science, 11th, 12th, somebody who has done the graduation in science background. So they did the experiment. In experiment, what we have different variables, and we control one variable, and we see the effect of that variable on the another variable. Laboratory experiments. In laboratory experiments, we have the control on all types of variables. Let's say that we are doing the titration in case of chemistry. So how much quantity of one solution, okay, we are adding into the burette or pipette. Also, we are keeping the temperature same. That is also we are controlling, and then we are trying to find out the relation between these two. Such kind of a research is called as experimental research. Here we see the cause and effect relationship. That is, if I make a changes in one variable, what is the effect how much is the effect, not what, how much is the effect on the second variable. Since I have the control, okay, since I have the control, not all experiments are, not all kind of a research, cause and effect relations, effects are experimental research. We are going to see this in the next type of research. Certain variables we cannot control, but still we try to find out the cause and effect. They move in their natural environment. They move in their natural environment. So let's say that suppose height and weight. So whether if the height will increase, the weight will increase. It is directly proportional. But we cannot reduce the height or we cannot increase the height. The variable moves in the natural environment as per the natural tendency. So we don't have control over the variable. Whereas in case of experimental research, we have the control on all the variables. हम experiment वही बोलते हैं ना, laboratory में experiment करते हैं हम लोग. So what does it mean? We have the control on all variables. We do the changes sometimes in the temperature, sometimes in the volume, sometimes in the other aspects also, electricity. Yeah, so we make some changes. In this case, there are two types of variables, broadly classified into dependent variable and independent variable. So dependent variable, they are depending, one variable, that is independent variable, has impact on the dependent variable. Okay. Let's say we are talking about income expenditure. Okay. So in this case, the expenditure is a dependent variable and it depends on the income as the independent variable. Okay. And we see that how much it is dependent. So whenever we are doing a research, we need to identify in bivariate analysis or multivariate analysis, we have to identify which are dependent variables, which are independent variables. Let's say we are talking about the investments. Okay, investments in share market, investment in the mutual funds, and investment into the FD. So it depends on what? So investment is a dependent variable. Investment is a dependent variable. It depends on, okay, it depends on income. If you have more income, there will be more investment in the shares, suppose. It depends on awareness, how much the people are aware about the risk of the share markets, about the share market. The person may be having the lot of money, but he don't know how to invest. So obviously what will happen, his investment will be affected. So investments in the share market also depends on the risk-taking behavior of that person. Okay, the person don't have that much that capability to take a risk. The investments in the share market also suppose depends on qualification and age. Okay, so these are the independent variables. And here we try to develop a relation between dependent and independent variable. What is our job is what? Try to find out what are the possible dependent variables or possible independent variables, and what is the relation between a independent variable and a dependent variable. So we may develop some kind of a regression, some kind of a linear programming equation. Okay. It might possible that y is equal to ax plus by minus cz plus dq dp. Okay, and that kind of relations we develop, and we try to find out what is the cause, what is the effect of a independent variable on the dependent variable, and what is the value of a dependent variable. For example, do proper diet reduces the weight? Yes, we can make alteration. So what we do, we make our health diary. Many people have this habit, they maintain their health diary. It is said that we are the best doctor. We don't need to go to the doctor. If we have a problem, we have to just retrospect. We have to see what kind of activity we have done today, what kind of activity we did yesterday, how was our mental health today, yesterday, what we eat today, yesterday, what activity we did today, yesterday, and then we'll find out that the correlation that yesterday I had night dinner outside. So obviously it is expected that I'll be having stomach problem today. So the thing is that the proper diet, whether it reduces the weight. If you make a healthy diet, then it might possible the weight will be reduced. Gather data is in a controlled environment. In this case, the environment is controlled. As I said, experimental, laboratory, सब कुछ control में है. अगर out of control हो जाता है तो वो it will be like a nuclear reaction. It have nuclear leakage that happened in Chernobyl and some other places. The nuclear phenomena, that chain reaction was out of control. There are two groups, experimental group and control group. Here we develop two types of a group. For example, we take the example that whether the new medicine is effective compared to the previous medicine, whether this new vaccine or medicine is more effective compared to the earlier one. So we will make one control group where we are not changing anything. Those people are getting same kind of medicine what they were getting earlier, whereas another experiment group, here we are adding new thing, that is the new medicine, and then we are seeing that how is the performance, how is the result in these two groups. This kind of a research, a quantitative research, is called as experimental research. The last one, that is a quasi-experimental research or ex post facto research. In this case, it is a type of experimental research. Only here also we try to find out the cause and effective relationship, but in this case, not a true experiment. That's why it is called as a quasi. Researcher does not interfere because certain natural phenomena we cannot interfere in that. For example, what is the effect of deforestation on the rainfall? Now we cannot alter this variable. Okay, the rainfall or drought condition is a dependent variable, and independent variable is what our deforestation. Okay, so we cannot take something, one country, and that or the one region, and divide that region into two parts, and one region will cut all the trees, and in second region will keep the tree. So such things are not possible. So such types of research are called as a quasi-research and used in majority of social science, this kind of quasi-research, because many of the control. I am doing some kind of a research, but what about the political activity? That is not in our control, because there are some macro variables and certain micro variables. Micro variables to some extent we can control, but macro variables we cannot control. And that's why such social science research are most of the time are quasi-experimental research. The next broader category, that is the qualitative research. I personally feel that qualitative research and quantitative research, in case of qualitative research, the researcher's skills are very important. Here the role of a researcher is very important. If you have some skilled researcher, then we will get good findings, because in case of quantitative research, we can quantify, we can measure. It is not related to subjectivity, and there are lots of statistical tools, tests and softwares are available for quantitative research, and that's why it is more easy. Whereas in case of qualitative research, it depends highly on the person who is doing the research, the skills of those research. The data, as we say that it is a why. We ask the questions like why. It is a primary exploratory research. We are exploring something. In this case, we generate the theories. Okay? The end part is about the generalization. It is not a specific. For underlying the reasons, motivations, opinions, we use this kind of a research. It does not include quantification. We don't quantify it. Then we use the unstructured methods of data collection, focus groups, interviews. Then open-ended questions are asked. This is important. It is more of a generalization. Okay? The results are theories. the outcomes of this kind of a research are theories, and those are about the generalization, general statement. They are not specific, so we don't take a decision on the basis of these many times. The sample size is very small in case of qualitative research. Like a case study research, you may do it research on only one. One of my friend did a PhD on Ratan Tata. So his sample was only one, Ratan Tata. So such types of research are qualitative research that heavily depends on the skills of a researcher, and we cannot form the hypothesis in this kind of a research. But these research are also important. They are important when we don't have any information. There are no prior studies done. Okay, but there are no prior studies are done. There are no theories available for that particular topic. So we go for a qualitative research, and we go with a small sample size, and it heavily depends on the skill of a researcher. The different methods by which collect a qualitative data. How do quantitative data, as we have seen, where we collect the quantitative data by surveys, by interviews, with the help of questionnaires. If the respondent is able to answer, then we go with the interviews. If the respondent is not able to answer, then we go by the observation method. For example, we are doing a research on the animals, so they are not able to speak, or we are doing a research on patient. So patient may be unconscious, he may not be able to answer the questions. So that time we go for the observation method. In case of qualitative data, we collect the data by observations. Okay, we develop our observation schedules through interviews, through focus group discussions. In case of focus group discussion, we give a topic, and one particular group, they have been told about this the problem market, the research problem, and all the recordings are done. Then there are other methods like rapid assessment procedure. This is very commonly used in social science, PRA and RRA. So the person go to that region rapidly with the help of that community. They collect the information by means of different life stories, ranking. In case of other methods, we go for a free listing. So these are the methods of collections of qualitative data. Qualitative research methods are classified into different parts. First is the historical method, phenomenological method, ethnographic research method, narrative research, grounded theory, and case study. So these are the different methods. We see the first method, that is the historical research method. As the name itself says, it talks about the history. We collect the information about the past. Okay, any past happening, activity, event, one particular person, we collect about the past. Involves studying interpretation of past events and their influence on the present events. Okay, in past these things are happened, and how it is going to affect the present one. It answers the questions that what was the situation that time. Okay, the sources are like past records, journal, diaries, newspapers. Like example, it's like suppose what was the company's previous policy and its impact on the current performance. So this is like a historical research. Ethnographic research, this is another type of a qualitative research. In this case, we do the study by observation. Okay, we are studying the culture, custom, and tradition. I want to know that what is the tradition in one particular tribal area. So I go for the ethnographic research. So I don't do the surveys here. I will do just study. So study can be that I will be a part of it, or they may not be knowing it. So most of the time, the people, they become a part of that natural environment. They remain there for years. Okay, some people without knowing them, but most of the time it is done by living with them and observing. Okay, how is their tradition, how they, what activities they do. So researchers either collect data from observing them or by becoming one of the participants. It do not rely on the interviews and survey. Focus is on interpreting the reality. Okay. So the next type of research, that is the phenomenological research. As the name again says, it talks about a phenomena, natural phenomena, okay? Focuses on participants' lived experiences relating to a specific activity or a phenomena. For example, we are talking about how was the people, how do the people feel during the lockdown conditions. So pandemic lockdown condition was a phenomena, and I want to do the survey on that. That how was the person, each person's reaction, what was their perception, how did they feel. So I'm talking their experiences, or I'm suppose doing my research on consumption process. Okay, I have one, or we'll say that we have some tourism department. I have some tourism doing tourism marketing, and I'm talking about that. How was your feel about your tour to that particular one particular location, to one particular site. So I'm talking about one phenomena, one activity. The gathers data regarding to feeling of participants regarding activity or phenomena, primarily experiments on perception-based research, combination of data collection methods. We go for the interviews, observation, videos, and other sources of information. So here it is the person's perception, feelings for one particular phenomena, what he has experienced. Let's say that again, as I said, we had emergency during Indira Gandhi time. Okay, our Prime Minister Indira Gandhi's time. So what was the people's reaction? What did they feel during that time? So it is a phenomenological research that for the over a period of say that duration, what were their activities, how they were controlled, how they were monitored, how they were bullied, or how it is affected. So it's a kind of a phenomenological research. A narrative research, again name the suggest, we are narrating. Okay, we are narrating. For this, I would like to say that there is one movie available on Amazon Prime. It's about when South Indian actress Savitri, the famous actress. The movie is Mahanati. So this Mahanati movie is a very good example of a narrative research. In this case, the researcher or that journalist, she wanted to do research, make a biography and articles on the famous actress Savitri. So what she did, she went to the different places, newspapers, to the people, to the past newspapers, journals, some movie cuttings, then people's interviews, talks. She collected different stories of that one for that one particular actress, and from that she developed one sort of a image of that actress, the famous actress Savitri. So this is a very good example of narrative research. We can, if you want to study understand concept of narrative research, we just see the movie, then we'll see that what she did, how she started, how she collected the information, from what sources she collected the information, and how she, from the different stories, okay, those stories are not available at one place. One story she collected from one spot, by one story she collected from the driver, one story she collected from one another actor, another story she collected from the newspaper, one story she collected from some other place. So those are the scattered stories. She collects those stories from these different sources, and then she developed a one particular kind of a story. That is what a narrative research. A researcher narrates about the life experiences of one particular individual. Data is gathered, just one or two individuals, through interviews, stories, experiences, newspaper, diaries over a period of time. So it is a sequence of events in order to form a cohesive story. A sequence of events that are collected from different sources, and one cohesive story is prepared. We write down the autobiography of one particular person. It's an example of a narrative research. The last, that is the case study research. As we know that it is something like a systematic inquiry of an event for one particular individual, organization, or one particular group of people, and we want some more information related to that. It is an in-depth, detailed explanation of a one particular specific part. The sample size is very small. Sometimes it is 1 or 2, or it is further collected if they want. Organization of data. So the case study approach, we know we use quite frequently in case of management aspects also, as well as in social science research. The last one is a grounded theory. This is very beautiful and very interesting and very, I'll say that quite often used concept in case of qualitative research. In this case, when do we use this kind of a theory? Why do we need grounded theory? As we have whatever the types of methods we have seen, they have some in particular situation we use those type of research. Like when we are studying the past history, I am talking first about the qualitative research. If I want to study the past history, I go for the historical research. If I want to do an in-depth study of one particular organization, one particular person, a group of person, that is in-depth, okay? Then we go for a case study. Then if you want to do about, make a biography kind of a study, then we go for the narrative research. And we want to do research, qualitative research about one particular phenomena or activity, we go for the phenomenological research. And if you want to study one particular community, tribal community, tradition, custom, culture, then we go for the ethnographic research. Grounded theory is something different, and it is a very interesting compared to other theories. The reason, the basic difference is that we use the grounded theory when there is nothing known. कुछ भी नहीं पता, we don't know anything, and we want to develop one particular theme or logic, we go for a grounded theory. In other kinds of research, we have some research questions framed earlier. We have some research questions in our mind. We have some approach in our mind. Whereas in case of grounded theory, there is only data in front of a person. And from that data, the researcher identify similarities, he develops the themes, and from that themes, he develops the concepts, and he comes to a conclusion. Okay, so it's a very interesting type of research. In other kinds of research, we collect the data, it is done, we collect the data and we go for the data analysis. That means we collect the data, we go to the field, we collect it, we code it, then we do the entry, we do the analysis. Whereas in case of grounded theory, the collection of data and analysis of data is a parallel. It keeps on going parallel. So it's a very interesting kind of research. This is the one major difference between the grounded theory and other kinds of research. Here we just get a data. Initially we get a data. We don't have any questions. We don't have hypothesis in front of us. We have only data, a group of people in front of us, and through constant comparison, what the researcher is doing, the researcher interviews the first person, then he interviews the second person, then from first and second interviews, he do the comparison, he do the comparison continuously, he develops some kind of similarities, then he again conduct another interview, and then he find out what are the findings of first two interviews and similarities, and what is the outcome of the third interview, and then from these three what he can generate. He keeps on doing parallelly, means collecting the data and constantly comparing with the previous findings and trying to find out what is the similarity and what kind of a theme can be generated from this. So this is a continuous process, and from that they develop the theme, the concept. It is called as a course, and from that course again comparison, and finally the researcher comes to some conclusion that okay, this kind of for example, what are the trends going on in the society? Let's say that whether the patriotism or national pride has become each society, our politicians are very good in this. they identify the trend in the society, or what is the major factor nowadays it is playing the importance in case of our society, and accordingly they address it. So this you don't get it from anywhere. These, the social science researchers, they interact with the one person, then the finding of one person, they correlate, when they interview the second person, they compare, then the findings of these two compare, findings, then when they interview the third person, they compare, and with this constant comparison, at the end they come to the conclusion, yes, nowadays the national pride, in particular Indian society, the patriotism is at high level, and if we address that issue, then we can get a good response from the community. So this kind of a research, they are something like one thing is that such research doesn't give any conclusion, and it is also not necessary that those conclusions are those findings are accepted always. Okay, for other research we get those findings, and from that findings we again do the research. So one thing is that we know that research is a continuous process. Okay, many times people say that I did a research on one particular topic. What does it mean? Statements suggest that you started a research, you came to certain findings, and it is stopped here. So research doesn't stop. One research gives birth to second research. Okay, and it is a continuous process. It never stops. So not necessary that the findings of this kind of grounded theory research are always welcome or always they form the base for the next research. But this is something like we are trying in a dark place. You don't know anything. You have only people in front of you, but you don't have any idea before starting the research what exactly you are finding. And then out of that, you come to sometimes something new. So this is very, again I said, depends highly on the skill of a researcher. Who is the researcher and how he conduct the research, it's highly dependent on that. So these are the different types of qualitative research and quantitative research that we have studied. Each research method has a different application. Method is used in different contexts. We need to understand what is a qualitative data, what is a quantitative data. And once you understand this, then in the coming sessions, you will be studying the methods of data collection. You will be studying the different methods of data analysis, and then you should be capable enough to take a decision that okay, this is a nominal data. Nominal data means what? Gender, male, female. So for nominal data, we cannot calculate mean. Okay, mean, median, mode. These are what? Descriptive statistics. Whereas when you go for the hypothesis testing, it becomes an inferential statistics. For nominal data, we cannot average. For nominal data, we just go for the percentage or the frequency. Okay, we say that okay, 30% were male and 70% were female, or out of 100, 30 were male and 70 were female. We don't say that on an average there were 40 females. No. So first of all, understand what type of a data you have, whether it is a nominal data. Yes, you go for the percentage. We can go for the percentage. We can go for the frequency. If it is the ordinal data, then we have to go for the median. If it is interval data, then we have to go for the mean. This is in case of descriptive statistics. If it is a bivariate analysis, then we go for the, if it is a quantitative data, then we go for the correlation. If it is a qualitative data, then we go for the chi-square test. So the different tests, when to use those tests. If you develop the data, if you make your questions in such a way that you get the interval or ratio data, then you can apply any kind of a test. And for that, this is the latter part, making the questionnaire, collecting the data, doing the data analysis. But before that, you should be aware about the types of data, which is a qualitative data, which is a quantitative data. In qualitative data, what are the subtypes? In case of quantitative data, what are the subtypes? And once you have a question in front of you, you can take any old questionnaire you must have done some research at your graduation level, PG level, or somebody who is doing the research. Then what type of a question it is? Okay, the gender, it is a nominal data. You are asking, your next question is about the qualification. It is the ordinal data. So that way you have to separate. Okay, you have to take the questionnaire and just with the pencil write down nominal data, ordinal data, interval data, ratio data. Get the habit of classification of a data, qualitative data, quantitative data. And the moment you become very much familiar and perfect with the classification of the data, then there are standard tests available for each type of a data. You don't have to do anything because we have softwares available for all types of data analysis. Excel, which is a free software, you can do many analysis with the help of Excel. SPS is also there. But the basic question in front of the many times students is that, sir, which test to apply? Which test to apply? Because the software cannot tell you to apply T test or Z test. The SPSS cannot tell you that apply chi-square test, or you apply the T test, or you apply the Z test, or you find out the mean. This you have to decide. The researcher has to decide what type of a test I apply and what type of a test you need to apply. That depends on type of a data. What type of a data you have? Okay, I have qualitative data. In qualitative data, what type of it is? Yes, it is ordinal data. If it is ordinal data, then I should go for the median. I should not think about the mean. I should not think about the frequency. If it's a nominal data, then I should go for the frequency. Similarly, there are the classification is for the informational statistics also. That is T test, Z test, chi-square test, F test, ANOVA, bivariate analysis. That depends everything on the type of the data. I hope I was able to justify the task which was given to me, and with this short period, I try to cover as much as possible. And I thank to the Shahu Mahavidyalaya, Rajshi Shahu Mahavidyalaya, to the principal, to the management also for giving me this opportunity, because this is the platform by which we can reach to the maximum number of people, crossing the boundaries of our territory also, and the platform which gives us more exposure. It is a continuous process. As I said, research is a continuous process. You get inputs from the different people, different researchers also, and I feel that this is an opportunity where I'm able to discuss my experiences and my thoughts with you. Thank you, sir. Thank you very much. Over to you.
Thank you, sir. Thank you very much, Dr. Pramod Patil, sir, from the Department of Commerce and Management, Swami Ramanand Tirth, Marathwada University Sub-Center, Latur. Sir, today's topic of discussion was the qualitative and quantitative research. In our today's session, you have given the information on the related topic that quantitative data refers to any type of information that can be quantified, counted or measured. The data collected about a numerical variable will always be quantitative. Therefore, one can easily identify the type of data prior to the collection based on the whether the variable is numerical or the categorical. You have given very simple example to understand the qualitative and quantitative data, such as how much your annual income is the part of the quantitative data. So the qualitative data is what type of occupation you are doing. Then how many children in your class is the example of the quantitative research. Whereas in which country your school is located is the example of qualitative research. How many hours you work is the example of quantitative data. Then do you work full-time or part-time is the example of qualitative data. So these type of example you have given to us so as to understand the difference between the qualitative and quantitative data. You have also given the information related to the quantitative observation that we uses our sense to observe the qualitative data such as our sight, smell, touch, taste and hear. You have also given the Maslow's need of hierarchy theory to identify the form of qualitative data, and also the various type of simple example you have shared with us to understand the difference between the qualitative and quantitative research. You have given the qualitative data collection methods discussion in a brief manner related to the observation method, interview method, focus group method, the discussion method and the other method, including the different types of theories, the grounded theories and the others. Sir, you have also shared the so many required information to us so as to test the qualitative and quantitative data, which test we can apply for these two types of data collection. You have given so many types of example to our participants, and I in full confidence that all the participants will got the idea that how they can use the different types of method for their selected topic for the research study. Now the session is open for the participant, and my kind request to all the participants to ask their question to our today's speaker related to your doubts and queries, all the participants. Davne sir?
Sir, I think sir has given in a very lucid manner total presentation. That's why I think there is no question. Therefore, also we request all the participants to ask questions. Sir is ready to give your answer. Hello, participants.
Again, my kind request to all participants, you can ask your questions to our today's speaker.
Rodia sir, I think there is no question.
Yes, because sir has given the information in a very simple and lucid manner, so all things are clear. So I think no question is there.
No question, sir. No question, sir. All was elaborated very in detail. It was good, sir. Thank you.
Yes, yes. Thank you, Indrajit Kamble sir. Thank you so much. So Davne sir, can I wind up?
Yes, sir. If the question is not there, then the last session of out of times you have to do.
Okay. Indrajit Kamble sir, you are going to ask any question?
Indrajit Kamble sir, do you have any question?
No, sir. I just spoke. I don't have any question. It was very good. It was a positive feedback. I was about to give positive feedback for the session. It was very good, sir. Detailed.
Thank you. Thank you so much, sir.
Yes.
The ICSSR sponsored capacity building program on the advanced research methodology for the young aspirants in social sciences and humanities, organized by the Department of English of our Rajashri Shahu Mahavidyalaya Autonomous Latur. In the today's fourth session, the chief guest of our today's capacity building program, Honorable Principal of our Mahavidyalaya, Dr. Mahadevji Gawani sir, Honorable Vice Principal Professor S.N. Shinde sir, the convener of this today's program, the HOD of English Department, Honorable Dr. Anuja Jadhav ma'am. I am thankful to all these organizers. I am again thankful to our today's speaker, Dr. Pramod Patil sir, from the School of Management Science, Swami Ramanand Tirth Marathwada University Sub-Center, Latur, Pet, for sharing the valuable thought with our participants over the topic qualitative and quantitative research, and giving the simple examples so as to understand this type of complication between the qualitative and quantitative data collection, as well as to apply the test for the collected data. I am so much thankful to my departmental colleagues of Department of English, Honorable Dr. Sachin Bhandare sir and Dr. Chandrakant Davne sir, for giving me the opportunity to coordinate today's session, and all other team members of the English department and technical support members to giving support to organize today's program very effectively. I am again thankful to all the participants for making participation in the capacity building program and sharing their thoughts and giving valuable feedbacks over the today's session. My kind request to all the participants that the feedback link is shared on your WhatsApp group about the today's session. Kindly give your feedback to us, as well as the link to give the assignment is also shared on our WhatsApp group. Kindly complete the assignment for the today's session. Thank you one and all.
Thank you, sir. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Rodia sir.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you for your resourceful lecture, sir.
Yes, sir. Welcome, sir. I am always available. I am so happy that I could exchange my knowledge, my experiences with so many people. Thank you, sir.
Sir, in future time also, we need your.
Sure, sir. Sure. Definitely, sir.
Okay. Once again, sir, on the behalf of Department of English and Rajnishri Town Mahavidyalaya, I personally thank you very much.
Yes, sir. Thank you, sir. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Dhavani sir. Thank you.